Assalamu alaikum, my name is Awad. I'm going to be talking about Libya. Country in North Africa. Tripoli is the capital city. Population 7.8 million. Kikiksu is one of Libya's popular dish. Fun facts. Libya has had one king in its lifetime. Libya has had the largest amount of oil in Africa. Thank you. Hi, my name is Baha. Hi, my name is Baha. Today I'm doing Syria. The famous places. Palmyra. Souk al-Hamidiyya.
And then we have some ancient ruins over there. Okay.
That's those two.
Now you're going to talk here. Damascus.
Damascus.
Damascus sword.
The Damascus sword.
Damascus sword is the monument.
It's
the symbol of the city. And stands in the square, and it's considered a symbol and a reminder of the victories and strength and achievements of the Syrian people. We have a famous mosque in Syria, and the mosque is believed to be the grave of Abel, which, as the son of Adam, Muslims believe that the mosque was, that's where Abel was buried. The mosque was built by the Ottoman Wali Ahmad in 1599 and is said to have 40 mihrabs. As the story goes, Abel was killed by his brother Kabil, which is known to be the first homicide of mankind. And what's this? The most biggest and famous mosque, the Umayyad Mosque. And beside
famous foods.
What's this?
Kibbeh.
Kibbeh and
grape leaves.
And
zucchini.
Zucchini. Say Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
You can take the mask off if you want to. Okay, where are you going to start? Here in the middle? Okay, go ahead. Say your name, say Assalamu alaikum, and say your name.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ibtisam Hassan.
And you're going to talk about what? What country are you going to talk about?
Today I'm going to talk about Sudan. This is the flag of Sudan here.
And talk about the weather.
The weather is very hot and sunny in Sudan.
And you have what?
There's many camels in Sudan.
And you have the desert.
There's a desert in Sudan.
Okay, and then women wear lots of colorful clothing.
What is
Go ahead. Clothing.
clothing? Women wear lots of clothes.
Yeah. And the men?
Men mostly wear white.
Okay, and what do you have in Sudan?
Nile River.
And
Lots of big open markets.
Alright, so that's it. Say Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah. Okay, come on. Got it? Okay. Mariam, let him go first, okay?
My name is Hamza, and we're gonna talk about Egypt. First, Egypt and Africa, and is 17th place to go in Egypt, and the biggest country in Egypt city is Al-Qahira, and the most food is food, and this is the Swiss, and the food is the most food in Egypt is food and mahshi. Okay. My name is Asia.
Loud.
My name is Asia. And
This is the flag.
this is the flag,
Egypt.
Egypt.
And this is what? This is
And this is
famous
famous
mosque.
mosque.
And what else do you have there?
And
What else do you have? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
And what do you have here? You have the pyramids in Egypt.
You have the pyramids in Egypt.
And this is a risala from Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
And this is the sallallahu,
A message.
a message,
Prophet.
a message from the Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah. All right. And this is. I don't know what this is. Okay. You can travel
You can travel.
along the coast there. Okay. What else? Did you talk about the pyramids and the Sphinx? You find the pyramids and the Sphinx. Okay, say it. Say it.
This is the pyramids
And the Sphinx.
and the swings.
Yeah. Okay, now it's Judy's turn.
Hi, my name is Judy. We're gonna talk about Egypt. Egypt has the long and deep
Largest Muslim population.
population in the
Arab world.
world, and the 66 world largest population, and has 5 of the world,
5%
5% of the world
Muslim population.
Muslim population.
Okay, so the Islamic conquest of Egypt took place in year 21.
The Islamic conquest Egypt 21, the year
Prophet's migration.
of the Prophet Plantation.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to say? Okay, just say something. Oh, we have like Moses coming from Egypt, and we have movies from Egypt. Say it.
We have a movie from Egypt, and that's the Pharaoh.
Okay, and that's the famous. What is that? What is this? Masjid of Amr ibn al-As.
Masjid Amr ibn al-As.
That's it. Okay, say salam alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
All right. You guys have to speak loud. You guys are too.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Today I'm gonna talk about Libya. Libya is in North Africa, and the clothes. This is the man clothes of Libya. This is the women clothes of Libya. And this is the famous desert in Libya. I don't know what are those.
Some ruins.
Ruins.
And this is Omar al-Mukhtar,
This is Omar al-Mukhtar,
Lion of the Desert.
Lion of the desert.
And the capital of Libya is
The capital of Libya is Tripoli.
It's the largest city in Libya.
This is the largest city in Libya.
1.1 million
1.1 million
people.
people.
And you talk about the food
And
traditions, Mediterranean tradition, food, North Africa, and Berber.
the
You can find couscous,
couscous, asida, mahrud, ospan.
those are the foods you can eat in Libya.
And this says, I love Libya. Libya is a beautiful country.
Speak loud, okay? So which country are you doing?
Pakistan.
Pakistan. Okay, so this is the map of Pakistan.
This is the map of Pakistan.
This is the flag of Pakistan.
This is the flag of Pakistan.
So few facts about it.
Facts of Pakistan.
It was founded
Founder
Muhammad al-Jinnah.
Al-Jinnah.
Emerged as an independent sovereign state in August 14th, 1997. Independence,
Independence.
August 14th,
August 14,
1947.
1947.
Capital city,
Capital city.
Islamabad.
Islamabad.
Okay, population, hold on, languages, let's see, languages
The languages
is
is
Urdu
Urdu
and English,
and English.
official language.
Official language.
And we have many more languages in Pakistan.
Yeah, many more languages in Pakistan.
And the climate
And the climate
is hot, dry,
dry
and desert.
and desert.
Very cold in the north.
And very cold in the north.
Okay. And we have a lot of animals, like the snow leopard,
We have lots of animals like the snow leopard,
endangered species,
endangered species,
such as the whales,
such as the whale,
crocodiles.
crocodiles.
They are protected.
They are protected.
Then the sport, the most loved sport is cricket.
There was also cricket.
And Pakistan is known for beautiful fabrics.
Pakistan is known for beautiful fabrics
Okay. In stylish embroidered designs.
and that important design.
In
Languages
languages,
is
is Urdu,
Urdu,
Punjabi,
Punjabi, Pashto, Sindhi,
Balochi,
Balochi,
Balti,
Bharti,
and
and
Ilkiti.
Irkutski.
Yes. And some traditional dresses in
And some indigenous dresses in Pakistan.
Punjabi,
Punjabi,
Saraiki,
Saraiki,
Pashtun,
Pashtun,
Sindhi,
Sindhi,
Balochi.
Balochi,
They all wear different traditional
all in different
traditional dresses.
dresses. And food, kebab, biryani, halwa, bahai, and hali.
Thank you. Say salam alaikum. Say salam alaikum. Say salam alaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Khadija Kaba. I'm going to be talking about Islamic Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast is a country in West Africa with a population of 26 million. Islam was brought to Ivory Coast by the Jula traders from the Mali Empire. Today about
Assalamualaikum. My name is Naminata. I'm from Ivory Coast. Today, about 44% of the population in Ivory Coast are Muslims. We don't read that part. We do read that one. Immigration from these two countries in Greece, the Muslim population in Ivory Coast.
most Muslim in Ivory Coast are in the north near the border of Mali and Burkina Faso. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Musa, and today I'm gonna tell you about Islam in Mali. Mali is a country in West Africa. It is the 8th largest country in Africa. The population of Mali is about 20 million. Muslims make up about 95% of the population of Mali. Islam was brought to Mali and in the western part of Africa by the Muslim Berber and Tuareg merchants in the 9th century. There are two important names in the history of Islam in Mali. Sunjata Keita and Mansa Musa. Sunjata Keita is the founder of the Mali Empire. Mansa Musa built the greatest masjids and universities and boosted Islam in the religion.
You're going to talk about these here, okay? Great masjids.
The Great Masjid of Janneh is the largest mud brick building in the world. Along with the city of Janneh, the Masjid of Janneh is the World Heritage Site by UNESCO. The Gingerbread Mosque in Tombouctou, Mali is a famous learning center of Mali built in 1327. Sankore Masjid and University is in the oldest institution in higher education in sub-Saharan Africa.
Syria Masjid, another famous masjid. You want to say that? Another famous masjid? You want to talk about that?
The Masjid of Sankore, Gingerbread, and Syria comprise the University of Tombouctou, one of the earliest universities in the world. They played an important role to the knowledge and the expansion of Islam.
Syria Masjid. Okay, say Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. Now we're gonna start with the advanced class, Sister Hanan and my class. So we're gonna go ladies first, youngest. So one girl, one boy, okay? Lina? Hold this one, child. It's okay?
Hi, my name is Lena, and I will be talking about Ibn Battuta. June 23, 1325 is when Ibn Battuta started traveling, where he lived Tangier, to where he traveled Mecca. When he left his home, he expected to be back 2 or even 3 years later. Hint, he was back 30 years later. He was born February 24, 1304 in Tangier. He died year 1368. He traveled 75,000 miles, enough to circle the globe 3 times and visit 40 modern countries. Along his travels, he visited kidnapping, shipwreck, deadly diseases, and being in prison. The plague killed his mom, and his dad had died before he went back to his home. He was a judge, Qadi. He went everywhere. He often stopped on his way to study foreign great scholars. You know what they say. No one is perfect. He finally joined the official Hajj route after a long journey of travels. Then he got sick, was attacked, and survived burning hot days. Tangier is a city in northwest Morocco. The population is 9,047,952.
He visited Medina, visited the Prophet's mosque, made Hajj. One of his accomplishments, wrote a 1,000 pages book about his travels. Thanks. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Adam, and today I will be talking about Abdurrahman ibn Khaldun. He was born in Tunis on May 27, 1332, and died in Cairo in 1406. Background: he came from a family of scholars and politicians. Country. Tunisia is the northernmost country in Africa. It is bordered by Algeria to the west and southwest, Libya to the southeast, and Mediterranean Sea to the north and east, with a population of 11 million. Innovation to Islam. He was an influenced North African Muslim thinker and judge. Era. He lived in the Golden Age. How his background influenced his achievements. Since he was born to a family of politicians and scholars, he got inspired by them to study hard. What is he best known for? Ibn Khaldun is the founder and most important figure of the field of sociology in Muslim history. He is one of the most shining stars who contributed to the understanding of civilization. Two of the books Ibn Khaldun wrote are Muqaddimah and his autobiography. He once said that blindly following ancient customs and traditions does not mean that the dead are alive, but that the living are dead. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Leen. Today we're going to be talking about Ibn Kathir. His full name, Imad al-Din Ismail ibn Umar ibn Kathir. Ibn Kathir was born in 701H, Syria. His father was the Friday speaker of the village. Country Sham and Egypt were ruled by Mamluki era. Died in 774 AH, 74 years. His father died when Ibn Kathir was only 4 years old, so he was an orphan. Ibn Kathir was renowned for his great memory regarding the sayings of Muhammad PBUH hadith in the entire Quran. Ibn Kathir's brother Sheikh Abdul Wahab reread and taught him until he moved to Damascus in 706H when he was 5 years old. Poor Ibn Kathir is known as a creative master, a scholar of language history, a muhaddith, and a Quran commentator. Ibn Kathir's books and innovation: Tafsir of the Noble Quran, Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya. He also added a book, Al-Fitna, about the signs of the last hour. At-Takmil fi Marift. Egypt is a country that's famous of their culture and ancient history. To date, over 130 pyramids have been discovered in Egypt. Islam is the dominating religion that has been practiced by 90% of the population. Amazing Islamic sightseeing that you can visit including Cairo, Muhammad Ali Masjid, Egypt in the Quran, the word Egypt mentioned in the Quran 5 times. I'm done. Thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Omar, and today I'm going to be presenting about Imam al-Shafi'i. His full name was Abdullah Muhammad ibn Idris al-Shafi'i. His country was Egypt. He was born in 150 AH and died in 205 AH. Background: he belonged to the Quraysh tribe of Banu Muta'allib, which was the sister tribe of Banu Hashim tribe of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In Mecca, he was wedded to Hamida bint Nafi, granddaughter of the third Caliph Uthman ibn Affan. He had 3 children, 2 sons, Abu Uthman and Abdul Hassan, and a daughter, Fatima. Innovation: one of Islam's foundational legal thinkers, Imam al-Shafi'i, also known as Sheikh al-Islam, is one of the 4 great Imams of Sunni schools of law. He is also the author of several prominent works in the field. He has been titled Nasr al-Hadith, which means defender of Hadith. Achievements: 100 books, some of them Kitab al-Risla, al-Imla, Kitab al-Hujjah. Influence: when Imam al-Shafi'i arrived in Egypt, he experienced immense success. The governor of Egypt approved a set allowance for him from the Zawal Korba part of the treasury. A student of Imam Malik Abdullah bin Abdul Hakim, who was a fluent and influential figure in the government, helped him a great deal and extended all sorts of comfort for him. Here he got the chance to profit his books and start a school. However, divine decree did not allow much time for this, as his time quickly approached. The governor of Egypt of that time acknowledged his academic excellence by not only just attending his funeral, but actually leading those prayers. His 2 sons, Abdul Hassan, Muhammad, and Uthman, were present for the funeral rites, buried in Muqattam Hills in Cairo, Egypt.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Aziza Hassan. Today I'm going to talk about Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah. He was born in 691 Hijri in Damascus, Syria. His name is Muhammad, nicknamed Shamsuddin. He memorized Quran from an early age. He had a lot of knowledge of science, mostly from the Quran and Sunnah. He chose to go to jail so he could learn from his teacher, Ibn Taymiyyah. One of his good books is One of his good books is one of his good words are the one that is struggling for the sake of Allah must have a source of self-esteem to elevate him and motivate him. He died when he was about 60.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Yusuf and today I'm going to be talking about Abbas ibn Firnas. Since the beginning of time, people used to look at the birds spreading those wings out and wish they too had wings. But do you know who was the first person to make the dream come true? The great Muslim man named Abbas ibn Firnas. He was that Muslim man who lived in the Emirate of Khutbah, which is now known as Spain. His full name is Abbas ibn Firnas Abu al-Qasim. He was born in 810 AD, which is the 9th century in Ronda, Spain. He lived in Qurtuba as it's one of the centers of culture and learning. He studied many subjects. He was mainly an inventor, engineer, chemist, physician, and Muslim poet. Ronda, Spain. It is a town in the Spanish. Its population is about 35,000 inhabitants. It was the hometown for Abbas ibn Firnas. During the Muslim Golden Age Era, Ronda became the capital of a small kingdom that's ruled by many Muslim caliphs. During that time, Ronda gained most of its Islamic architectural heritage. Spain. It's also called Muslim Spain or Al-Andalus. It was one of its developed countries during the Muslim Golden Age. It occupied the most intelligent scholars in that era. It was very developed economically, safety, socially, scientifically, and educationally. In the year 852, he tried to fly, so he made something like a parachute and jumped off the great mosque of Qurtuba in Spain. Unfortunately, it did not work. He did not get hurt. So he studied birds again and again. Then after some time, he figured that the bird had a unique wing shape. So he started building his wings. He tied bamboo with silk strips and covered it with eagle feathers. After he was done, he tried flying again. By that time, he was 70 years old. He went up to the highest hill in that town. He jumped, flapping his wings up and down. He jumped down, flapping his wings up and down. So he made the impossible come true. But unfortunately, after flying for some time, he couldn't get down, so he crashed. From the accident, he had back problems for the rest of his life. He later found out that he couldn't control his landing because he did not have a tail. His death. He was injured. He injured his back from the crash. His flying machine lacked a tail, prevented him from more experiments. Died in 887. We all should remember this great Muslim man who made the impossible come true. Anytime you see an airplane flying, be proud that our Muslim brother is the reason that airplane is flying. May Allah reward him. Thank you for listening.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Allah and we're going to be talking about UAE. This is the map of UAE and this is the flag of it. GCC country has sandy desert and hot weather. Founded December 2nd, 1971. Capital Abu Dhabi. Currency is dirham. UAE has 7 emirates and has many tall buildings. Dubai is an important city, global city and business hub. Palm trees are largest there. Man-made islands. Ferris World has the fastest roller coaster. Dubai Mall, Emirates National Auto Museum, Al Ain Zoo. This is the traditional dresses of UAE. You uncommonly are industry, art, culture, and exports. Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque can hold 40,000 worshippers. Burj Khalifa's world's tallest building, 828 meters tall, 163 floors, 3 times as tall as Eiffel Tower. Food of UAE are maloba, haris, and shawarma. The cultures of UAE are Arabic poetry, henna or Arabic tattoos, music and dance, and falconry. Sport activities: camel racing, falcon racing, horse racing.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Muhammad Salama, and we're going to be talking about Muhammad Sinan. Born 1488, nationally Ottoman, died July 17, 1588. He lived 91 to 100 years, and he died in Ottoman Empire, now Istanbul, Turkey.
innovation. He first revealed his talents as an architect in the 1530s by designing and building military bridges and fortifications. In 1939, he completed his first non-military building. And for the remaining 40 years of his life, he was to work as a chief architect of the Ottoman Empire at a time when it was the zenith of its political power and cultural brilliance. What was he best known for? Ma'mar Sinan reached artistic peak with design, architecture, tile decorations, and landstone workmanship displayed as Tsumaima, ancient Ma'mar Sinan Bridge by Istanbul, Turkey. Projects made by Sinan. The number of projects Sinan undertook is massive. 79 mosques, 34 palaces, 33 public baths, 19 tombs, 55 schools, 16 poorhouses, and 17 madrasas. How his background influenced his achievements. He received a technical education and became a military engineer. He rose rapidly through the ranks to become first officer and finally a Janissary commander with the honorific title of Sinan. He refined his architectural engineering skills when on a campaign with the Janissaries, becoming expert at constructing all kinds of projects such as roads, bridges, and Egypt. At the age of 50, he was appointed as chief royal architect, applying his technical in the army to the creation of the religious buildings and civic structures. Thank you for listening.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Lamis and I'm going to be talking about Maryam al-Sulabi, the only female astronomer in ancient Islam. She was born in Bilad al-Sham in June 26, 1887. Bilad al-Sham is recently known as Syria. Syria is a country located on the east region of the Mediterranean Sea in southwestern Asia. Syria is surrounded by many Islamic countries, like Turkey to the north, Iraq to the east and southeast, Jordan to the south, and Palestine and Lebanon to the southwest. Syria, or Bilad al-Sham's population is 19,747,586. And here's a picture of Syria, Iraq, Jordan, and Lebanon, Palestine. And this is the only map that shows Palestine in it, in the search. And she was the daughter of a famous geographer and astronomer, which was a famous author, engineer, and scientist during that time. Her father was studying about planets, and he wrote some books. The daughter was influenced by her father's work and knowledge regarding astronomy. Her father's work is considered the most important book in that era. Maryam al-Sulabi's invention was in the Golden Age. She invented the astrolabe. The Islamic Golden Age Era was the time between the 7th to the 13th century. During the trade and exchanges of ideas was flourished. The scholars, doctors, and other knowledgeable people all gathered in the center and translated Greek texts into Arabic. The Khalifas were focusing on developing the country economically, educationally, safety, and scientifically. During the Golden Age, the major Islamic capital cities became the main intellectual center for science, philosophy, philosophy, medicine, and education. So you guys might be wondering, what is an astrolabe? Well, it is an instrument that's used to measure the height in degree of a fixed point in the sky, like a star or a sun. And then checking against a built-in star chart to find the time of day on the particular date. Your fixed point will be at the height you measured. It is a circle shaped of wood or brass. It requires many circular plates to find specific locations. The circle represents month, time, and star directions. Unfortunately, after some research, there was no mention about her death time and year in the history. The astrolabe was used as a GPS of its day. People used them to The astrolabe was used as a GPS of its day. People used them to find the Qibla for prayer times, Ramadan, and Eid. Nowadays, we use Maryam al-Shulabi's idea to navigate to places so we can get to see our families, friends, and other family members. It is now applied to our smartphone, laptop, and car. So now, if you go to your car and then your parents navigate somewhere, thank Maryam al-Shulabi, the only female astronomer in ancient Islam. Thank you for listening.
It's upside down. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Karim and I'm going to be talking about Al-Zahrawi. Al-Zahrawi is the father of modern surgery. His full name is Abu Qasim Khalaf ibn Abbas al-Zahrawi, born in 936 in 80 in Al-Andalus, died in 1013 in Al-Andalus. Al-Zahrawi is known in the West as Abu Qasim. He was a famous Arab Muslim surgeon and who lived and stayed in Al-Andalus. Al-Zahrawi was born in the city of Az-Zahara in Al-Andalus. He is considered as the father of modern surgery. Al-Zahrawi invented over 200 surgical instruments, which are tools that doctors use to perform surgical tasks, like surgical scissors, retractors, and grasping forceps. His famous book is Kitab al-Tasrif, that includes 1,500 pages about medicine and surgery.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nada and I'm going to be talking about Muhammad Mutawalli al-Sha'rawi, shortened Sheikh al-Sha'rawi. He was born April 15th, 1911, country Egypt. He was a teacher at Zayn al-Zahra Institute. Later he joined the Alexandria Institute and then Zingzi Institute, working as a lecturer at the factory of King Sha'rawi at Abdulaziz University in Mecca al-Mukarrah in 1952. In 1960, as the principal of Zayn Institute, director of Islam propagation at the Egyptian Ministry of Endowment in 1961, inspector of Arab scientists at Al-Zahra in 1962, and later appointed as the Minister of Islamic Affairs. Interesting facts. Resigned Minister of Islamic Affairs, exceptionally talented at explaining the meanings of the Quran. He explained simple words and the meanings behind difficult verses of the Quran. May Allah have mercy on him and on us, and make us live with the prophets, martyrs, and righteous people, and good companions. He read many books at a young age, graduated in 1941, certificate teacher in 1943. In 1950, worked as a professional of Sha'rawi in the widespread popularity he promoted to the title of Imam of Preachers. Death. He died June 17, 19 years. Thank you for listening.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Abdul Latif and today we're going to be talking about Abu Bakr Muhammad ibn Zakaria al-Razi. He was born in 854 AD in Iran. Abu Bakr Muhammad ibn Zakaria al-Razi, as his name al-Razi indicates, he hailed from the Persian city of Ivory, near modern-day Tehran. His biographers report that he ran a hospital there and another in Baghdad. He received patronage from Abu Salih al-Mansur. He died in Iran. Facts about Iran. The capital city of Iran is Tehran, and its president is Ibrahim al-Razi, and the supreme leader is Ali Khamenei. Currency, Iranian Riyal. Al-Razi considered himself the Islamic version of Socrates in philosophy. He creates in medicine. What is Al-Razi in Islam? He went on to become one of the greatest physicians of the medieval period, writing over 200 works. Half of them was on medicine, but others on topics that included philosophy, mathematics, astronomy, and alchemy. What is Al-Razi famous for? Al-Razi is considered the original portrayer of smallpox. While serving as the chief physician in Baghdad, he was the first to describe smallpox, to differentiate it from muscle. He wrote a treatise on the subject, Kitab al-Jadari wal-Hasba. Among the most important medical works of Al-Razi are the book of Al-Muniri, which he wrote for the ruler of Al-Ray Mansur bin Ishaq in the 12th century, and the book of Al-Hawi, the comprehensive book in which he surveyed early Greek, Syrian, and Arabic medicine, as well as some Indian medical knowledge. During his works, he added this thoughtful judgment and medical expertise as commentary. Among his many small medical treatises are his famous treatises on smallpox and measles, which have been translated into Latin, Byzantine, Greek, and various modern languages. The famous books for Abu Bakr ibn Zakaria al-Razi, Al-Hawi, terrorists and the smallpox and Mosul, 1848. About Galen, royal medicine, practical chemistry in the 12th, 1929. Diverse.
Hi, my name is Jana. Today I will talk about Ibn Tufail. Ibn Tufail's full name is Abu Bakr Muhammad ibn Abd al-Malik ibn Muhammad ibn Tufail al-Kus. He was born in 1105 in Indonesia. His family were from the Arab tribe. Ibn Tufail was other of Ibn Yazan. Many Islamic philosophers, writers, physicals, and astronomers. And his work, those people in Club Noor al-Dai, Abu Abdullah Muhammad al-Badr, Abu al-Walid al-Malik, Ahmad Muhammad as Makwer, and Ibn al. Thank you for your listening.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhammad, and today I'm going to be talking about Abu Hanifa. His full name is Imam Abu Hanifa. Some followers call him Al-Imam Al-Azzam. He was one of the four greatest Imam. He was born in 699 AD. This is one of his books. He summarized 500,000 hadith in his book. The most famous book of his is called Al-Fai Al-Akbar. Some of his children is Hamad ibn Hanifa. He is Al-Nu'man bin Thabit bin Zut al-Taymi, the Kufi Nawla of Banu Tayallah bin Taliba. He died in the year of 767. Imam Abu Hanifa was a man of abundant knowledge, and scholars have attested to that. He is from the sons of Persians. As for Zuti, he is from the people of Qubul, and he was born firmly in Islam. And Abu Hanifa was silk merchant. Thanks for listening. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Maryam and today I'll be talking about Muslim ibn al-Hajjaj. He was born in Nayshabur, Iran in 204 al-Hijra or 817 to 18 CE and died in 261 al-Hijra or 874 to 75 CE in the city of his birth. His era was the 9th century and he was best known for his 9 books about hadith. Abul Hussein Muslim grew up stuck on knowledge. He began his knowledge journey at a young age, which led him to become a scholar. He made 9 books about hadith, and one of them was Al-Musnad as-Sahih, and he made 8 other books. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Yasin. We're going to talk about Ibn Sina. Once part of the Soviet Union, now home to over 33 million people, official language is Uzbek. Uzbekistan has a desert climate with extremely hot and dry summers. Uzbekistan is a major cotton producing country and exports large amounts of gold, uranium, and natural gas. The region that is currently Uzbekistan was at one time part of Persian Empire, then later ruled by the Mongols. It was also under the Tamerlan Empire, and in 1925, the region was under control of the Soviets, and it was known as Uzbek Soviet Socialist Republic. Uzbekistan officially became independent in 1991. The dominant religion of the country is Islam, with over 95% of the population being Sunni Muslim. What is now known as modern-day Uzbekistan was the birthplace Ibn Sina during region of Persian Empire. Thank you for listening. Ibn Sina is genius and scholar. The whole Quran by age 10, memorized, began studying machine medicine at age 13 and became a full doctor at age 18. He wrote many books on medicine and Islam. He's considered to be the father of modern medicine. There are many clinics of hospitals around the world named after him. Thank you for listening.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Rahaf Mustafa and I have Malik ibn Anas. Okay, so birth. Imam Malik was born 711 AD or the 93 Hijra in Medina, Saudi Arabia. His innovation to Islam, or who he was. Malik ibn Anas was a Muslim legist who played an important role in formulating early Islamic legal doctrines. Imam Malik was one of the most respected scholars of fiqh and also known as Imam Darul al-Hijra. Imam Malik totally detached himself from almost everything and dedicated his entire life to studying the religion. He learned and memorized the Quran in his youth, and his great-grandfather, Abi Amir, who was from Yemen, embraced Islam in 2 AH and migrated to Medina. He participated in all the battles alongside the Holy Prophet ﷺ, except for the Battle of Badr. His innovation to Islam. Malik's most famous accomplishment in the annals of Islamic history is, however, his completion of the book Al-Muwatta. It contained 1,720 hadiths. This book was approved by 70 scholars, thus calling it Muwatta, the approved. Many commentaries have been written on this book, and it's one of the oldest and most revered Sunni hadith collections, and one of the earliest surviving Muslim law books, in which Malik attempted to give a survey of law and justice, ritual, and practice of religion according to the consensus of Islam in Medina. His background and living environment. Malik began pursuing Islamic knowledge as a child barely 10 years of age. He was qualified to issue legal verdicts before he turned 18. He began teaching publicly at the age of 21, and many narrators related to hadith from his time. He drew many crowds of people from all over the Muslim world, from the beginning of his time all the way to the end of his life. In his environment, there were not many obstacles to the pursuit of knowledge, and distractions were very few. If a student wanted to seek knowledge, the doors to the mosque were always open, and study circles were always readily available. If a student headed off to the market, there would be lively discussions of Islamic legal matters to be had there. Even at home, there was nothing but encouragement from parents and family. It was as if society itself was speaking out to its wholehearted support for Islamic learning. Home country. Imam Malik lived in Medina, Saudi Arabia. And as you know, Medina is the second holiest city in Islam after Mecca city. It is located Hijaz region of western Saudi Arabia, about 100 miles inland from the Red Sea and 275 miles from Mecca by road. Imam Malik was a role model because he was a very modest person and he devoted his life to knowledge and in the sincere worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Death. Imam Malik died 795 AD or the 179th Hijrah in Medina, Saudi Arabia at the age of 83 or 84. He was buried in the cemetery of Al-Baqi across from the mosque of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Muhammad and I'm going to be talking about Ibn al-Haytham. Ibn al-Haytham was born on July 1st, 965 in Basra, Iraq. Ibn al-Haytham was known for being an Arabic mathematician, astronomer, and physicist. Also, Ibn al-Haytham worked to understand the nature of light and how eyes work. He died on March 6, 1040 in Cairo. Ibn al-Haytham was known as al-Basra and related to his birthplace in the city of Basra. The West knew him as al-Hasan, and they called him Batlaimos II, and the physicist. Ibn al-Haytham is considered the first founder of the science of optics and a pioneer of the scientific method. He is also one of the first experimental physicists who dealt with operation and experiment only in an attempt to explain them in mathematically without resorting to other experiments. Book of Optics. Ibn al-Haytham proved the fact that light comes from object to our eyes, not the other way around as was believed at the time. And to him are attributed the principle of the invention of the camera, as he provided the first clear description and correct analysis of the dark camera and the pinhole camera. He was the first to fully explain. The eye and the function of its organs, and the first to study the
physical effect and factor of vision. Commenting his memory, Pakistan, Jordan, and Malai will put his picture on post stamps, and Iraq put his picture on its currency. Further, NASA has named a lunar crater after his name by help. Further, NASA has named a lunar crater after the scientists in honor of the achievement in the field of astronomy on the Oscar of 1048, the anniversary of the birth of Ibn al-Haytham. Google issued a special logo doodle, and it was used on the homepage on the site on July 1st, 2013. Thanks for listening.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Layan, and my person is Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khawarizmi. He was born in 780 AD in Khawarizm, now known as Iraq, and he died 850 AD in Iraq, his home country. Ibn al-Nadim gives his birthplace as Khawarizm, and he is generally thought to have come from his region. His name means the native of Khawarizm, a region that was part of Greater Iran and now part of Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan. Iran is located in the Middle East and southwestern Asia. It is bordered in the Caspian Sea, the Persian Gulf, and the Gulf of Oman, Turkey and Iraq to the west, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Turkmenistan to the north, and Afghanistan and Pakistan to the east. Persian, now known to its native Iranian speakers as Farsi, is the official language of modern-day Iran. Parts of Afghanistan and the Central Asian Republic of Tajikistan. Persian is one of the most important members of the Indo-Iranian branch of the Indo-European family of languages. The population in Iran is 99 million in 2022. Parents. His kunya is given as either Abu Abdullah or Abu Ja'far, with his full name of Abu Ja'far Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khawarizmi. Historians are able to extract that he was the son of Moses, the father of Ja'far. His occupation: mathematician, translator, astronomer, philosopher, historian, and geographer, and astrologer. His role in Islam: perhaps his most important contribution to the mathematics was his strong advocacy of the Hindu numerical system, which al-Khawarizmi recognized as having the power and efficiency needed to revolutionize Islamic and Western mathematics. Creation/innovations. Al-Khawarizmi made some of these innovations himself. He improved of Ptolemy's famous world map, recording the latitude and longitudes of thousands of cities. He produced new calendar and calculation systems for tracking the movement of the planet, sun, and moon. Siblings. The three brothers of Muhammad, Ahmad, and Al-Hassan lived during the golden age of Muslim civilization. Each excelled at a field of science: astronomy, mechanics, and mathematics. But together they formed one scientific team that left a lasting legacy on science and the rise of the golden age. How does Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khawarizmi impact society today? Muslim mathematician and astronomer whose major works introduced Hindu-Arabic numerals and the concepts of algebra into European mathematics. Latinized version of his name and of his most famous book title live on in the terms algorithm and algebra. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is
Anas, and I'm going to talk about Ibn al-Haytham. He was born in the Iraq city of Basra during the Abbasid Caliphate. Ibn al-Haytham was a great polymath who lived from 965 to 1040. Ibn al-Haytham was optics, anatomy, astronomy, engineering, and a billion more. Ibn al-Haytham was placed under house arrest for 10 years after pretending to be insane to escape execution by the legal-mate Caliph, and Egypt called him al-Hakam. Those 10 years didn't seem as a punishment to the brilliant scientist. During this time, he pursued his research and divided into the study of light. He wanted to understand what light is, how it works, and how humans see objects. Although what he studied and discovered was truly revolutionary and one of his biggest contributions. Using dissections and the knowledge of previous scholars, he was able to begin to explain how light enters the eye, is focused and projected to the back of the eye. He was the first to study the concept of the pinhole camera, a box with a tiny hole on one side that is able to project an image of whatever is outside into a side of the box on the inside. Ibn al-Haytham built these pinhole cameras centuries ago. He also studied the way light is affected when moving through a medium such as water or gases. From this, he was able to explain why the sky changes color at twilight. In his book, The Book of Optics, he was the first to disprove the ancient Greek idea that light comes out of the eye, bounces off objects, and comes back into the eye. Those familiar with the way modern cameras work will notice that is how cameras work in general, but today with the addition of lenses. Ibn al-Haytham helped set the foundation of the scientific method. He revolutionized the approach to build conclusions upon the observable universe through testing and observation. The translation of the Book of Optics had a huge impact on Europe. From it, later, European scholars were able to build the same devices as he did and understand the way light works. The list of accomplishments and contributions of Ibn al-Haytham goes on and on. The truly amazing thing is that he wrote over 200 books. Sadly, only around 50 have survived till today. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Come get your...
It's up. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Jana, and I'm going to be talking about Fatima al-Fihri. Fatima al-Fihri was born 800 AD, and she was known for financing of the Al-Qarawin Mosque and University in 859 Fez, Morocco. She was the first female to build a mosque in North Africa. She was also known as al-Banayn. She was married, but both her husband and her father died shortly after the wedding. When Fatima earned a huge amount of money at the time her father and her husband died, she decided to use it to build a mosque community that people in Fez needed. Her family was part of a large immigration to Fez from Cairo. She died 880 AD.
Hello, my name is Bara, and my scholar is Jabir ibn Hayyan.
Birth and death. Jabir was born around 720 AD in Iran in the city of Tus and died around 815 AD in Iraq in the city of Kufa and died in the age of 94. Innovation to Islam. He was a chemist. He also made medicine for Muslims and non-Muslims. Era. Jabir ibn Hayyan lived in the era of the Golden Age. Jabir's background. In Jabir's family, chemistry was not unknown. His father was a pharmacist. Jabir was inspired by Imam Sadiq, the founder of chemistry. What is Jabir best known for? Jabir is best known for his nickname, which is Father of Modern Chemistry. Books by Jabir ibn Hayyan. Jabir ibn Hayyan wrote 7 books, and one of them is Kitab al-Kimya, Book of Chemistry. Geographically, Iran is located in West Asia and borders is Caspian Sea, Persian Gulf, and Gulf of Oman. Population is about 83.99 million. Thank you for listening.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Maria and my scholar is Abu Yusuf al-Kindi. Abu Yusuf al-Kindi was born in Kufa, Iraq and died in Baghdad, Iraq. His era was the Islamic Golden Age and his father was Isaac ibn Sabah. Abu Yusuf al-Kindi is the father of philosophy and his inventions such as Abu Yusuf al-Kindi invented the cryptanalysis and the frequency analysis. And one nickname that was common for Abu Yusuf al-Kindi is the philosopher of the Arabs. Al-Kindi is best known for being the first self-identified philosopher in the Arabic tradition. Country/background. His country was Iraq and his background. Abu Yusuf al-Kindi was an Arabic astronomer and he was also interested in Islamic theology. He invented the frequency analysis and the cryptanalysis. His region is Islamic philosophy and he went to the school called Aristotelianism. Achievements/accomplishments. Abu Yusuf al-Kindi wrote at least 260 books. He wrote 32 books about geometry, 22 about medicine and philosophy, and 9 books about logic, and 12 books about physics. He was also the first person that developed the philosophical conceptions of Greek thought. His home country, Iraq has a population of 40,022 million people. The capital of Iraq is Baghdad, and Iraq is 168,754 square miles of land. Iraq is located in Asia, and around it is Turkey in the north, Iran in the east, Syria and Jordan in the west, and south in the Saudi Arabia and Kuwait in the south. How his background influenced him to work harder and never quit, and also how to introduce new ideas and thoughts for him to consider. His era is the Islamic Golden Age. Thank you for listening.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Jabril. My scholar is Zing. He was a famous Muslim voyager. He traveled to places like the Ming Empire, Asia, Mughal Empire, Saudi Arabia, and Adam and Muda. He was known for being a young diplomatic emperor, voyages to places including Africa, Asia, and the Far East, bringing back exotic souvenirs from his voyages. He once returned from a voyage with a giraffe. That was one of his exotic souvenirs because they're not native in where he lived. My country was Indonesia. Their population is 276,361,783 people. but the Muslim population in Indonesia is 229 million. The language they speak is Indonesian, and the popular dish there is nasi goreng. It's Indonesian fried rice. His family, spouse, and kids. He had 4 sisters and 1 older brother. His son was Zhang Wenming, and he was born 1371 and died 1433. He lived for 62 years and died of an illness. The era he lived in was the Ming Dynasty. He spreaded Islam by when he went on his voyages, he would stop at locations or places that they were passing by, tell them about Islam, and they would over time convert. He would also spread Islam by assigning some Chinese Muslims from overseas to be leaders in their local Chinese communities. They also taught people about Islam. Fun facts about him. His original name, when translated to English, is Muhammad. He became a chief aide of the Prince of Yun.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Noor, and I'm going to talk about Sahih al-Bukhari. Sahih al-Bukhari's full name was Abu Abdullah Muhammad bin Ismail al-Bukhari. He was born on the 13th of Shawwal, 194 after Hijrah, or July 20th, 810 AD, and died on Shawwal the 1st, 256 after Hijrah, or September 1st, 870. He was born in Bukhara, Uzbekistan, which until Bukhari was a grown man was an unimportant part of Islam. His father, Ismail ibn Ibrahim, died when Bukhari was young, leaving his mother, whose name was unknown, to care for him, and his brother, Ahmad ibn Ismail. His father named him Muhammad in hopes that he would love the Prophet, peace be upon him, during a time of doubt in Islam. And because of that, he loved the Prophet very much. As a child, he had an eye disease that caused him to have very poor eyesight, but with a lot of du'as from his mother for 2 to 3 years, he was cured. He memorized the Holy Quran and learned the basics of the religion, as well as thousands of ahadiths when he was still a young boy. As an adult, he achieved many things, such as collecting the hadith collection known as Sahih al-Bukhari, regarded by Sunni Muslims as the most authentic hadith collections, and was the best and most known work of his. Thanks for listening.
Assalamu alaikum and hello everybody. My name is Bara, and today I'm going to talk about Ahmad ibn Hanbal and Iraq. His full name is Ahmad ibn Muhammad ibn Hanbal Abu Abdullah al-Shaybani, which is pretty long. He was born in 780 CE in Baghdad, Iraq, and he also died in 855 CE in the same place. He was born in the Islamic Golden Age and made an enormous impact on Islam. He was born to Muhammad ibn Hanbal and Safia bint Maymuna. During his childhood, his father, Muhammad ibn Hanbal, suddenly died. He was raised as an orphan and had to learn to be self-reliant after that. Growing up, he studied hard in Baghdad. He began to learn fiqh under a celebrated scholar in Islam, Abu Yusuf. When he completed his studies, he traveled to many locations, which include Syria and Arabia, to collect hadiths, or traditions of the Prophet. According to Ibn al-Jawzi, Ahmad ibn Hanbal learned from over 400 hadith masters. When he returned to Baghdad, he began learning Islamic law under al-Shafi'i. He later founded the Hanbali school of Islamic law. His innovation to Islam. Ahmad ibn Hanbal had a huge impact on the world of Islam and changed it forever, since his research and books are widely influenced around Islam. His research and hadiths are considered to be one of the most popular fiqhs of all time, which many people follow the rulings of. The time and work it took to make all those hadiths together was grueling, but it made a baseline to everyone who follows those rules. Without him, Islam wouldn't be what it is today. He was best known for making one of the largest collections of Islamic hadith, Al-Musnad. According to Maktaba Shamila, Al-Musnad contains over 27,000 hadiths. His home country is Iraq, and he was born in Baghdad, a famous city in Iraq. Iraq is bordered by Turkey in the north, to the east by Iran, to the west by Syria and Jordan, and to the south by Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. Iraq's size is currently 169,235 miles squared. Iraq is famous for its poets, architects, painters, sculptors, and delicious dishes. His background made who he was and influenced his achievements greatly. He relied on himself to accomplish his work, the death of his father changing the course of his life forever. Other things like the teachings of Abu Yusuf also influenced him to collect teachings from the hadith masters who made his work a masterpiece. And most importantly, his belief in Islam, because it was the greatest influence to all of his accomplishments. One of my favorite dishes from Iraq is maqluba. Maqluba could be found in many places, which also includes Iraq. There are many ways to make it, but the main principle is to flip it upside down before serving, which is what the word maqluba means, which is to flip upside down. It's usually with rice, vegetables, herbs and spices, and meat such as chicken or lamb. Sorry, I'm not.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Salma, and I wrote a short story about my scholar. So, once upon a time, a boy was born November 17th, 1933. He memorized the whole Quran since he was a child. He studied geology in college. His dad would always educate him and his siblings with Islamic stories and Islamic studies. He graduated top of his class in college, and even though he graduated top of his class, he didn't get to go on the scholarship, but he turned that into a good thing, because he went and instead of being sad, and not doing anything, he worked at many different places, which helped him a lot in what he would do in the future. And that scholar is called Zaghlul al-Najjar. He traveled to so many places after that. He also built geology associations where he went, since there weren't many geology associations at his time. So I have a map here, and where he went to Europe, he went to Saudi Arabia, he went to Kuwait, he went to, obviously in Egypt because he was born in Egypt. He went to South Africa, and he also went to California in the US. Also, he wrote many different books. So over here you can't really see, but he wrote many different books showing how, like, evidence from the Quran and compared them to the scientific explanations about the same thing, and showing that that's the right thing. And about his country, Egypt is a country in northwest Africa. The population is 102.3 million. Thank you for listening.
Assalamu alaikum.
My scholar is Ibn Tsumaima, and he was born in January 1263. He was one of the most influenced writers in Islam. He never got married, and he wrote 591 books. One of his books are Al-Aqid Al-Wasatiyya and Manhaj al-Sunnah Nabawiyya, Al-Futwa al-Kubra, and As-Salim al-Maslul. And he's also the Sheikh of Islam. He became one of the biggest scholars from his family. Thank you for listening.
Okay, that was the last one. May Allah reward you all. Jazakumullahu khair. We are so proud of our students, to be honest with you. The way they bring the old civilization to today, it's very, very amazing. To be honest with you also, it's a very high level type of project. Tap your shoulder, thank yourself. We are so proud of you mothers who help your children. May Allah reward you all, and dads too, to be fair. Thank you so much. May Allah reward you all. May Allah help us to raise these children under the Islam umbrella. Jazakumullah khair. May Allah reward you. Food?